Hey there, it's Jules here again from Tapping with Jules, and I'm an EFT trainer and an advanced EFT practitioner and a social worker. And I'm here today again with Susie. Kim, how you going?
Hey, good.
Good. So this is our third session, and we've been working on your procrastination. So tell me what's happened from last week. So last week, I'll just kind of remind you, we were tapping on the kind of the procrastination, the fear of being stressed about this event that you decided to kind of postpone, but you were saying, I really don't want to get stressed about it. And then you were saying, oh, I'm worried that I'm going to procrastinate and I won't be able to focus. And so what have you noticed in the last week that's shown up in relation to this?
Yeah, so in relation to this, so I have noticed that right now, like I'm just at what before the last, probably like 5 days or 6 days or so, like basically almost since after the last session, like I was quite relaxed after the last session. And then I just haven't been very excited about this program. So I went through a bit of a process of, okay, well, what if I just let the whole thing go? And then I'm sort of started hitting up against some dogma and just things like, well, is that okay? It's like, yeah, of course it's okay. It's totally up to you. But then sort of feeling a bit bad and not wanting to make it concrete. Like I haven't announced anything either way. That it's going ahead or it's not going ahead. I don't feel decided on whether it's going ahead or not going ahead. But I think what's good anyway is just giving myself the space and not like, who cares, you know?
Yeah.
But I do care is the thing.
Yeah. Yes. So how does it feel to kind of just sit with that? Because like the goal was to announce the date and the format change, and you haven't done that. How does it feel to just sit with, haven't done that, and I don't know if I want to do that? Like what comes up for you when you think about that?
What comes up is, I've got some thoughts of like, okay, well, because I was focused on this, I missed out or I haven't put my energy into other things.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then the thoughts, I've got a little bit of still, I'd say it's a little bit of, I don't know if it's anxiety or nervousness, just of like, oh, you know, I really should be doing something like announcing it or just being clear. I feel like I'm not being clear.
Okay.
And
so to commit either way, either it's off, or it's on, and this is the date. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
So I should be clear.
I think I should be clear. I should be communicating. You know, I've been emailing people. I've been was until maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago posting pretty regularly. There's not that anyone is, you know, following me that closely, but you know, there's it's generally that's professional to communicate what you're doing.
Okay. So there's a bit of Judge Judy going on about
for
how
sure.
Professional, is that what you mean? Like that you feel that you've been a bit unprofessional or?
Yeah, I think it's been unprofessional. I think it is unprofessional. And I guess I'm even thinking it feels unprofessional even to like not be decided.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, that's so unprofessional.
Okay. All right. So in terms of a goal for this session, what would you like to focus on?
Yeah, so I would actually really love, I guess, sort of the freedom from my own expectations or judgments.
Right.
Because I'm also aware that it doesn't matter that much. Like I can do what I want. Yes, there might be consequences, but it's better just to do what I want while still having, right, structure and things like that. But mainly I want that freedom from different ideas of how I should be operating.
Yeah. And what would that, how would you know if you had more freedom around that? Like at the moment, do you feel like I am still stuck in my head about it, or I'm thinking about it a lot, like judging myself, shoulds, dogma?
Yeah, so I think initially I was judging myself a lot about the rest received. That was in previous weeks. And then now, or I was more in my head about it. And now I'm more aware of those shoulds. So that's sort of where I'm at. Yeah. So I'm just more aware of it because I'm not doing anything on it. I don't really feel to do anything on it. And there's a bit of discomfort around that.
Sure. Okay. All right. So let me just run through our little limiting beliefs that we started with. So at the moment, just give me a percentage. So when we do validity of cognition statements, we measure them in percentage. How it's safe to be stuck. How much does that feel true at the moment?
That actually does still feel quite safe. Like that feels quite true. Like I'd say like 80. And I've been noticing that a lot this week, actually. I'm playing with that. So
okay. So you still feel pretty stuck and it feels safe?
It's not so much that I feel super stuck, but I definitely feel safe feeling stuck.
Okay, good. All right.
Like I probably could move easily, but
yeah,
I'm just really like noticing the safety in things.
Okay, good. And what about I procrastinate often?
Yeah, that would still be like a 60 maybe.
Yeah.
50,
and I don't
60.
I don't deserve to take up space.
I don't deserve to take up space. Like, I don't know, like a 50.
Yeah. I find it difficult to make decisions that lock me in.
That one's still up, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a 70.
Yeah. And I will never live up to my own expectations.
Yeah, about a 70, I'd say.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, that one's under construction, isn't it?
What do you mean?
As in,
that's the next layer kind of
there's deeper expectations that I'm dealing with now. Yes.
yeah. And it's safe for me to expand into this next stage of business.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, I would say it's not that safe at the moment. It feels, about a 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I only work hard under pressure.
Okay, that's kind of neutral, like a 50.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Good. So if we think about a session goal, so you said freedom from my own judgment and expectation. Now I'm more aware of the shoulds, but there's discomfort around that. Is that right? Yeah. So if we let's just start tapping. If you were to think about, like, is there something that you'd kind of like to be able to do after this session? Like either kind of like maybe, is there a decision that you want to make or an action that you want to take or something that at the moment just feels like, oh, discomfort you're talking about or judgment or whatever?
Yeah, I guess I would like to, I think so it's not, I don't know if it's so much, okay, so this is what I think is happening, right? Like I'm actually quite good at taking action. But I have had a history of beliefs of thinking that I'm not. Like it's taken me even till last year to think that I was terrible at taking action, but actually I take a lot of action a lot of the time, right? Like classic high achiever kind of thinking that I'm not good at doing things when actually I'm excellent. And so I think that it's not so much that I even need to do something right now. I don't know. It all gets a bit complicated once you get into the deeper levels. But I want that feeling of not feeling, I want to feel free. And so when I'm not making a decision, I want to feel free.
Okay. All right.
It's like I want to feel free from that pressure.
Yeah. Okay. So at the moment, if I say I feel free to not make a decision now, is that what you mean?
That feels so uncomfortable. Oh my.
There you go. Give me a percentage. How much that feels true?
Yes, that feels terrible. Like 10%. Yeah, that feels terrible. Is that interesting?
Oh, there you go. We've got the right. We've hit the right spot. So it feels about 10%, like we don't feel free at all to just not make the decision. So to be just sitting in this place of not acting on the shoulds and the whatever feels, okay.
It feels terrible. Yeah.
Okay, so the goal, in a way, would be to feel the freedom to just sit in this uncomfortable place of I'm not making a decision, I'm not moving forward with this, not doing anything.
Exactly.
That's the goal, is it?
I think so.
I don't think I've ever made that a goal before, to not do anything. But see, for high functioning people, it is. That's the achievement, is to actually drop the expectation, and yeah. All right. So let's say if that's our goal.
I think that's a good goal, because it's like, it's almost like the last week I could have easily, but I was just like, oh, the joy's not there, just the excitement's not there. Of course I could do it. Yeah. So there's something around that. So I think that would be a great goal. Oof.
Excellent. All right. So thinking about that, I'm just going to sit with this. I'm not making a decision. I'm not doing anything that I think I should do. What comes up as a negative emotion, sensation, thought?
Yeah. There were a lot of thoughts that came up. It was not making a decision is unprofessional. Not making a decision is like, of course I should. It was just an instant thought of like, no, of course you have to make a decision. Of course you have to announce something. Of course you have to be doing something. It was just a big feeling of like pressure, actually, from my head. And almost like that's untenable to not make a decision. Oh my goodness. That's
okay. Excellent. All right. So will we, for a little kind of a specific event, will we focus on you kind of sitting at the laptop perhaps and actually choosing to not do anything? Is that what would be a good,
or I think like actually be choosing to I mean, in practical terms, what's going to happen is I'm either going to make an announcement, or I'm just going to like literally just not say anything, right? But I think mainly what I want is the freedom to just move on to other things, because I think I've sort of been caught not doing the thing that we're meant to do for Western Receive, but also not moving on to focusing on other types of content and just other things, right? Other things that I do.
So what other things would you be doing if you left this behind? Like, do you want to, I mean, I'm just thinking we should probably sit with the like, maybe we should start with the like feeling like I should be doing that, and that's unprofessional to not do that, like to sort of sit in that space.
Yeah, maybe.
Where would you be? Like, would it be like I feel like I should be posting something?
Oh, like, because normally, yes, I would be posting or creating more content. I would probably be promoting more of my couples work. There's just things that I would be doing, or that I would like to be doing. Yeah.
But if we just stop at that point of like thinking I should be doing something about this before moving on to that, will I get you to think about like imagining that the feeling, the urge, I should do something about this. Like I should announce it at least, that I'm not doing it if I'm not doing it all. Is that, would that be right?
I do actually think I should announce it.
Okay. All right. So thinking that I should announce it, what comes up? So what you said, pressure, like.
Well, it seems unreliable not to. It seems really flaky. I think I'm like scared to be flaky.
Okay.
But I am being flaky by not wanting to be flaky, I suppose.
Okay. So how do you, like, just even though I feel thinking that I really should announce, I should make a decision and announce. Like, how do you feel when you think that?
I feel like queasy, I feel
whereabouts
in the stomach. I feel it feels like shame, actually.
Okay.
This isn't okay.
All right, shame 0 to 10.
Yeah, like it's a bit under, but probably like a 6.
Okay. All right. So just repeat after me. Even though I feel this shame.
Even though I feel this shame.
Because I feel like not making a decision.
Because I feel like not making a decision.
That's really unprofessional.
It's really unprofessional.
I'm just being flaky.
I'm just being flaky.
And I actually feel sick in my stomach thinking about it.
And I actually feel sick in my stomach thinking about it.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Those words okay?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me if anything gets really intense and we'll stop. Yeah. And as in just change tactics. Even though I'm feeling shame.
Even though I'm feeling shame.
When I think about the idea of not making a decision.
When I think about the idea of not making a decision.
I think, of course, you have to make a decision.
I think, of course, you have to make a decision.
It's really unprofessional not to.
It's really unprofessional not to.
It feels untenable.
It feels untenable.
To not make a decision.
To not make a decision.
And I feel like I'm just being flaky.
And I feel like I'm just being flaky. You know what? I feel like I'm being a child. I feel really like I'm being a childish child.
Okay. And I feel like I'm being a childish child.
And I feel like I'm being a childish child.
And I feel queasy in my stomach just thinking about this.
And I feel queasy in my stomach just thinking about this.
Even though I'm feeling shame.
Even though I'm feeling shame.
Thinking about this idea of not making a decision.
Thinking about this idea of not making a decision.
I feel like I'm just being a childish child.
I feel like I'm just being a childish child.
It's unprofessional.
It's unprofessional.
And I'm worried that I'm just being flaky. Childish.
I'm worried that I'm just being flaky and childish. Yeah, and then the word that accompanies childish is that I'm undeserving.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not being, you know, a leader, or I'm not being a guide. I'm being a child. You know, I'm undeserving.
Oh, very good. And I feel queasy in my stomach just thinking about this.
And I feel queasy in my stomach just thinking about this.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And accept myself and how I feel.
Okay, so top of the head. This shame.
This shame.
This shame feels sick in my stomach.
This shame feels sick in my stomach.
I feel shame.
I feel shame.
Making me queasy in my stomach.
Making me queasy in my stomach.
This shame.
This shame.
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 It feels sick in my stomach just thinking about it.
I feel sick in my stomach just thinking about it.
This shame.
This shame.
Okay, so come back to the side of the hand. Just notice what you notice thinking about that.
Yeah, there's definitely a high feeling of avoidance. Like I want to like jump out of my skin, or I want to hide, or
yeah, right. And what's prompted that? Like
it's like just looking at this. It's just so stupid and unprofessional and child. You know, it's just having a look at this. And obviously, I wanted to look at this, right? But there's something very squeamish about. It's hilarious. Oh, excuse me.
it's all right. I swear, it's fine.
It's hilarious in a way, but yes, but it feels like it's almost nonsensical and irrational in a way. Yeah, there's just like it's just like, whoa, this was not very difficult. You could have just made any decision and just announced that. But I trust that I wanted to look at this, but it's like there's some part of me that's just laughing at myself.
Okay, all right. So is shame still feel like you still feel in touch with the shame of it?
Oh yeah, so it's shame. It is shame. I'm just going into just the enjoyment of that, like the subconscious enjoyment of that. Yes.
Okay.
But yes, it's definitely shame, and there's definitely still judgment. And
what number would you give the shame?
Yeah, still a 5 to 6, I'd even say.
Sure. Yeah.
Under there.
And you feel it in the stomach still? Still feel a bit sick and queasy? Or
it's in the stomach, and the other feeling that I get is like just wanting to like escape.
Yeah. Okay. And what are you kind of imagining? Like you're just thinking about, yep, I could send an email and I'm not. I could post about this and I'm not. Like what's your mind focused on?
Or what's the thing that I could do? I could have just made a decision. You know, it would have taken a minute. You know, it would have taken 5 minutes to take care
in
of
the
this.
last week kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good work. All right. Even though I'm feeling this shame.
Even though I'm feeling this shame.
I just think I could have just made a decision about this.
I think I could have just made a decision about this.
It would have only taken 5 minutes in the last week.
Only taken 5 minutes in the last week.
It's not very difficult.
It's not very difficult.
But I feel like I just want to escape.
But I feel like I just want to escape.
I feel like I want to jump out of my skin and hide.
I feel like I want to jump out of my skin and hide.
And I still feel this in my stomach.
And I still feel this in my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I still feel this shame.
Even though I still feel this shame.
Because it's just so stupid and unprofessional.
It's just so stupid and unprofessional.
It's just childish. I could have easily made a decision.
It's just childish. I could have easily made a decision.
And I feel like I want to escape in my body.
And I feel like I want to escape in my body.
I want to like jump out of my skin and hide from this.
I want to jump out of my skin and hide from this.
And I can feel the shame in my stomach still.
And I can feel the shame in my stomach still.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I still feel this shame.
Even though I still feel this shame.
Thinking that I just haven't made a decision all week.
Thinking that I just haven't made a decision all week.
It's so stupid and childish.
It's so stupid and childish.
It's unprofessional and nonsensical.
It's unprofessional and nonsensical.
And I feel like I just want to avoid this.
And I feel like I just want to avoid this.
I want to jump out of my skin and hide from this.
I want to jump out of my skin and hide from this.
And I'm feeling it in my stomach.
And I'm feeling it in my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel. Okay, I just realized something. You know how I said I've been really noticing it's not so much that I'm stuck, but I feel safe to be stuck.
Yeah.
So this is it. This is such a clear example, because it's like, I don't have to be stuck. It's very easy not to be stuck, but I like it. Or there's some part of me.
Yeah.
Yes, that likes, yeah, so it's that safety. Do you feel, yeah.
Good. Yeah, great work. Excellent. Okay, this shame.
This shame.
Ooh. The shame in my stomach.
Shame in my stomach.
Side of the eye. Makes me want to jump out of my skin and hide.
Makes me want to jump out of my skin and hide.
This shame.
This shame.
I really want to escape this.
I really want to escape this.
This shame.
This shame.
The shame in my stomach.
The shame in my stomach.
The shame makes me want to jump out of my skin.
The shame makes me want to jump out of my skin.
Okay, so coming back to the side of the hand. Okay, great work. So when you think about, I've had the whole week, could have just taken a few minutes to make a decision, post, but didn't do that. What comes up when you think about that now?
Well, immediately I was like, yeah, but I had a really great week, right? I did have a great week.
Yeah.
The other thing was, and there was a little, just like a little overhang of, oh yeah, at some point I've got to come back to that. At some point I've got like just that little tiny hook. And that's the thing, hey, like I feel like, I don't know if you've read this book called Existential Kink by Carolyn Elliott. Anyway, it's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just wanting to give the context to
okay.
it. Yeah, it's basically like when we do things that we hate or which are self-sabotagey, there's a part of us that really loves it. Is the basic premise. And so I'm really leaning into that. And I'm like, I get it. I'm so in it.
Yeah, true. All right. So when you think about like, or how unprofessional, you know, like go into Judge Judy
I'll
mode.
go to that one. Okay, go to that.
Stupid,
Great.
it's childish, like how much
Yes,
is it still
yes.
shame that you feel?
It's still shame and it's undeserving. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like, and it's undeserving of, you know, because I'm doing pretty deep work, and it's like how it's sort of hitting that of like, I'm undeserving to be paid for, you know, my work because I can't even make this stupid decision. And then there's also, right? And then it's sort of keeping me, well, I'm keeping myself, but like, it's sort of keeping me hostage in that, you know, I haven't moved on to then start creating more relationship content or, you know, anything else. I sort of just stayed in this little hold pattern.
Okay.
So I'm in a hold.
For a whole week.
Yeah, maybe even 2.
Yeah. All right. So shame because I'm undeserving, because I'm doing pretty deep work with people, and yet I can't even make this stupid little decision. Is that right?
Almost right. It's like, I think it's undeserving because it's unprofessional, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
it's really hitting on the basic professionalism.
Yeah.
Kind of dogma, you know, like things like, yes, you should reply to emails straight away. And you know, those, you know, that professional dogma.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which is also useful. I get it, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is unprofessional. Like imagine if you're in
So what's unprofessional
workplace.
that all week you haven't made a decision, you could have, you didn't, is that what's unprofessional? You didn't make a decision, you haven't announced you're doing it or you're not doing it. Is that what you mean?
I think so. Yeah. I think it is unprofessional, and I think it impacts trust. But I think it impacts trust because it's unprofessional, because it's unreliable.
Okay. Yeah.
In any other normal business, that's the thing, right? If I was in any other normal business, of course you would be announcing these things as and when the changes are made. You know?
Yes, that's right. And is there anyone in particular that you feel it would impact the trust with? Like, is there any like particular clients or someone that you're thinking, they will be thinking like, oh my God, like, is she doing this or not? Like,
there's no one person, but I would sort of just imagine globally anyone who's interested, I suppose. Yeah. Or people who are watching. Yeah, people who are watching, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay.
Not like a lot of people aren't, but and if I think about it, I haven't really thought about it, but if I think about it, I guess it could be from other coaches, or it could be from people who really value information. Like professional women, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
People who expect professionalism.
Exactly. People who expect professionalism.
Oh, tough duties to them. Okay, shame 0 to 10.
I'm not there yet. I'm not at that stage. See, I'm like, I'm sorry that I couldn't deliver you the professionalism, right?
Yeah. Shame 0 to 10, thinking it's unprofessional, but you know, a normal business person would have by this time announced a change and communicated that. Is that right?
Yep.
Unprofessional, unreliable. So shame 0 to 10, thinking about that.
No, it's like a 4 to 5.
Yep. And where do you notice it in the body? Yeah.
It's like it's in my stomach and my chest.
Yeah.
Okay.
And can you is there like one client or other coach or someone that you could focus on that might be really thinking, Susie, she's so flaky, like someone who might be really judging you about this, or is it really just yourself?
It's mainly me. There's like, I know that logically no one else really cares that much about other people.
Okay.
in a way.
Everyone's too worried about themselves to worry about you, aren't they? Okay. All right. Even though I'm feeling this shame. Thinking that I have not made this stupid little decision. It's just unprofessional. Unreliable. It's going to impact trust. From other coaches and women who I work with. And I'm feeling this in my stomach and my chest. I feel like it makes me undeserving.
I feel like it makes me undeserving.
Is that okay to add that? Yeah. And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I'm feeling this shame.
Even though I'm feeling this shame.
Thinking, I've had the whole week to do this.
Thinking I've had the whole week to do this.
I should just make a decision and communicate that.
I should have just made a decision and communicated that, yeah.
And I feel very unprofessional and unreliable.
And I feel very unprofessional and very unreliable.
But I haven't done that.
That I haven't done that.
And I'm worrying it could impact trust.
And I'm worrying it could impact trust.
Other coaches and professional women I might work with.
Other coaches and professional women I might work with.
I feel a bit undeserving with this shame.
I feel a bit undeserving with this shame.
And I feel it in my stomach and my chest.
And I feel it in my stomach and my chest.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I feel this shame.
Even though I feel this shame.
Just feels so unprofessional.
Oh, it feels so unprofessional.
So unreliable.
So unreliable.
Like I could have just made a decision and communicated that.
Like I could have just made a decision and communicated that.
And I'm feeling it in my stomach and my chest.
And I'm feeling it in my stomach and my chest.
I feel like it makes me undeserving.
I feel like it makes me undeserving.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
This shame.
This shame.
This shame in my chest.
Shame in my chest.
Shame. Shame in my stomach.
In my stomach.
Feeling shame.
Shame.
This shame in my chest.
In my chest.
Shame in my stomach.
Shame in my stomach.
All this shame.
All this shame.
Okay. What are you
Okay.
noticing now?
So I'm noticing a lot of other little tiny things that I do that are unprofessional.
Okay.
For example, taking a bit too long to get back to people is unprofessional. It would be mainly that. It would be mainly that.
You bad girl.
But it's a similar feeling.
Yeah, right.
And it could be easily fixed, but I do think it is pointing to that something a bit deeper. I think it probably is pointing to, maybe it could be pointing to deeper shame or, yeah, anyway.
Okay. So just, if you just stick with that idea of like, oh, I didn't make a decision, I haven't communicated with people, you know, like I haven't done anything, basically. It's unprofessional, it's unreliable. So is that still kind of active? Like, do you still feel shame about that?
Yeah, and now I guess the judgment has turned to, well, it's just stupid, isn't it?
Right.
It is unprofessional and it's also dumb.
Right. Because?
It's dumb because it's, you know, it's childish. It's
okay.
It's dumb because logically it's, you know, it's not good for me and it's also easy and, you know, all these things.
What's not good for you?
Well, it's not good for me in a way to have it just unresolved.
Okay, sure.
You know.
Okay. And so is it still shame that you feel when you think about that or something else?
Could be shame, could be a bit of frustration.
Okay. Which one feels more intense, do you reckon?
I think it is still shame. You know, I think ultimately it is still shame.
We'll come back to frustration. It'll still be there, I dare say. Shame 0 to 10, thinking about that, like it's just stupid, it's dumb, it's unprofessional, it's childish.
think it is probably, yeah, I guess it's a 3 to 4. It's probably
Okay.
gone down. Yeah.
And where is it in the, what are you noticing in your body when you're focusing on that? Thinking I could have just made a decision and communicated that.
Yeah, it's in my belly.
Okay. All right. Even though I still feel this shame,
Even though I still feel this shame,
thinking that I had the whole week to make this decision
thinking that I had the whole week to make this decision
and communicate it,
and communicate it,
and I didn't.
and I didn't.
And it's just stupid.
And it's just stupid.
It's dumb.
It's dumb.
It's unprofessional and childish.
It's unprofessional and childish. Oh, you know what? It feels like, it's almost like, it reminds me of me when I'm being rebellious.
Yeah.
Because it's so small that it's, you know, I feel like I'm revolting against something, against myself. My
Yeah. So
expectations,
let
my
me know,
whatever.
like, if a memory pops in of a time earlier in your life,
Yeah.
because that can happen, but I don't
Yeah.
like want to force it. But if there's a memory comes,
Yeah.
or you can just be aware of that presence of
I
that
can be
feeling.
aware of it. It feels like teenage, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like teenage rebellion. Like, this is how I get my freedom, you know. So this is my little thing that I do.
This is my way of rebelling, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah.
To get freedom.
Yeah. It feels like, yeah, this is how I
Okay.
get freedom. Just putting my stake here.
Yeah, just like as in choosing not to do something that's expected of me. Is that what you mean? Like,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah.
Or I'm choosing not to do something that you think is important.
Something that you think is important.
Yeah, something that I think is important. Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Even though I feel this shame.
Even though I feel this shame.
This feels like teenage rebellion.
This feels like teenage rebellion.
Like it reminds me of being a teenager.
It reminds me of being a teenager.
And choosing not to do something that I think is important.
And choosing not to do something that I think is important.
This is how I get freedom.
This is how I get freedom.
And I feel it in my belly. Yeah.
It's not what I think is important. It's choosing something that my parents think is important.
Yeah. I was just waiting for that.
Oh, sorry. I meant I as in the adult I.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
All right.
But yes.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I have this shame.
Even though I have this shame.
Thinking that I didn't make this little decision and communicate it.
Thinking that I didn't make this little decision and communicate it.
And it's so unprofessional.
And it's so unprofessional.
And it reminds me of being a rebellious teenager.
And it reminds me of being a rebellious teenager.
And not doing something my parents think is important.
And not doing something my parents think is important.
Is that okay to say it like that?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, this is how I get my freedom.
But it's like, this is how I get my freedom.
And I feel this shame in my belly.
And I feel this shame in my belly.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I feel this shame.
Even though I feel this shame.
When I think that I had the whole week to make this decision and communicate it.
When I think that I had the whole week to make this decision and communicate it.
Which is what a normal professional business person does.
Which is what a normal professional business person does.
It reminds me of being a rebellious teenager.
It reminds me of being a rebellious teenager.
It's like I'm just not doing it because my parents expect me to.
It's like I'm just not doing it because my parents expect me to.
But this is how I get my freedom.
But this is how I get my freedom.
But I feel the shame about it in my belly still.
I feel the shame about it in my belly still.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Okay, top of the head. This shame.
This shame.
This shame in my belly.
This shame in my belly.
This shame.
This shame.
Shame in my belly.
Shame in my belly.
This shame.
This shame.
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 There's shame in my belly.
There's shame in my belly.
Feeling shame about it.
Feeling shame about it.
Okie dokie. How you going? What are you noticing?
Yeah, my mind's probably a bit more empty.
Mm.
I don't feel the shame really so much.
Okay.
It's kind of decreased a lot.
It's very unprofessional though, Susie. Very unreliable.
It is still unreliable and still unprofessional. It's true. That's a fact.
Doesn't mean you have to feel shame about it, but I'm just testing
Yeah.
our work. Like,
Yeah.
what number would you give the shame?
The shame's like a 1 or 2. It's not,
Okay.
but it's not super. Yeah, it's very faint. Yeah.
Okay. Is something else bubbling up instead in terms of another like negative thought, sensation, emotion? Because of frustration lurking or something else?
I don't know. I feel like in a way I feel quite equanimous, right? But I guess that's all the tapping. But it's like I feel like it could be like there's something around that. Like I like being in this stuck place that it is frustrating.
Yeah.
Even though I find it amusing at the same time.
Yeah. Focus on the negative stuff, like how frustrating it is that there is this part of me, is that what you're saying, that seems to like being stuck.
I love it. I
Feels...
love it. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very clear to me how much I love it, you know.
Okay.
Like I will create this. Yeah.
Okay. And so how is it very clear to you? Just this whole process is illuminating that, is it? Like,
yes, it's clear to me in lots of ways. Like I've always been aware of
Okay.
it, but this process is illuminating it in like a very clear way. Like, how is it that I've just created this thing to be stuck over? It's like, it's almost like I've put a little, you know, like the water's flowing and I'm like, no, I'm going to make it stop. No.
That's right. Yep, okay. So do you want to say, even though I feel frustrated thinking that I actually create this, it's clear to me that part of me loves this, being stuck like this?
Yeah, I don't feel frustrated at myself, but what is it? I feel just at a loss, you know.
Okay.
I feel like
at a loss, 0 to 10.
At a loss, 0 to 10. Yeah, like a 5, around a 5.
Yeah. And at a loss because what?
Because where do we go from here? You know, because now, I guess I can really feel the part of myself that likes it. And it's hard for me to feel the part of me that judges it at the moment. Yeah. But I'm like, okay, well, where do we go from here?
Sure. Okay. Right. And you're feeling something in the body, this at a loss feeling?
A little bit, yeah, I suppose in the chest, a bit of a flutter.
Okay.
A little bit of twinge in the stomach still. Yeah, that's stuck in the stomach. Yeah. Yep.
And the sighing is also like a yawn. That's like neurological release as well. Like it just means that energy is shifting and you're doing really well. Great. Okay. Even though I feel at a loss.
Even though I feel at a loss.
Because like, where do we go from here?
Because like, where do we go from here?
This process of EFT is really illuminating.
This process of EFT is really illuminating.
The fact that I love this being stuck.
The fact that I love this being stuck.
But part of me really judges it.
But part of me really judges it.
And I feel a flutter in my chest.
And I feel a flutter in my chest.
And I feel that stuckness twinging in my stomach.
And I feel that stuckness twinging in my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Those words sort of accurate enough. Yeah. even though I just feel at a loss.
Even though I just feel at a loss.
Because where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
Part of me is really frustrated and judging of this part of myself.
Part of me is really frustrated and judging of this part of myself.
But doing this tapping has made it very clear to me
But doing this tapping has made it very clear to me
that there's a part of me that just loves it.
that there's a part of me that just loves it.
Like I create this for myself.
Like I create this for myself.
And it actually feels safe to be stuck.
And it actually feels safe to be stuck.
So I don't know where we're going to go from here.
So I don't know where we're going to go from here.
And I feel a flutter in my chest.
And I feel it flutter in my chest.
And I feel the stuckness twinge in my stomach.
And I feel the stuckness twinge in my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I just feel at a loss now.
Even though I just feel at a loss now.
It's like there's a nice flowing river.
It's like there's a nice flowing river.
And I've got to like stick something in it.
And I've got to stick something in it.
Like I just love being stuck.
Like I just love being stuck.
I create this for myself.
I create this for myself.
I could have easily made a decision about this program in the last couple of weeks.
I could have easily made a decision about this program in the last couple of weeks.
And I just didn't.
And I just didn't.
And part of me really judges this part of myself that likes to be stuck.
Really judges this part of myself that likes to be stuck.
And it's frustrated with it.
And it's frustrated with it.
And the other part of me just loves being stuck.
The other part of me just loves being stuck.
So I'm just at a loss to know where to from here.
I'm just at a loss to know where to from here.
And I feel a flutter in my chest.
And I feel a flutter in my chest.
And I feel the stuckness twinge in my stomach.
And I feel the stuckness twinge in my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Okay, top of the head. At a loss.
At a loss.
Feeling at a loss.
Feeling at a loss.
This at a loss feeling is like a flutter in my chest.
This at a loss feeling is like a flutter in my chest.
And I feel the stuckness twinge in my stomach.
And I feel the stuckness twinge in my stomach.
I'm just at a loss.
I'm just at a loss.
Like, where do we go from here?
Like, where to go from here?
Feeling at a loss.
Feeling at a loss.
At a loss in my stomach and my chest.
At a loss in my stomach and in my chest.
Okay. Come back to the side of the hand. What intensity, how would you rate that feeling now? Being at a loss about it.
About a 3, I suppose. About a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't even know. It doesn't actually feel that much like a feeling. It's more a question,
Okay.
you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so maybe it's not even a 3. It's more just
Okay.
yeah.
So when you think about, like, you know, really, you could have easily made a decision about this in the last week or two and you just didn't. And it's unprofessional, but obviously you just like being stuck. So, like, you're creating this, you stupid, rebellious teenager. When you think about that, like, what comes up as an emotion or thought or sensation in the body?
I guess what comes up as a sensation is that stuckness.
Yeah.
And the feeling of, it's just so familiar, you know, it's just so familiar, and it's so nice in there in a way, you know. So it's anyway, it's hilarious to me. Oh, I can't believe I did that. It's really funny. Anyway.
So what do you say? It's nice in there. Do you mean?
I guess I can see the part of me that just loves to be stuck.
Yeah.
Really. But I'm also wondering, I guess the thought I have is, so it's sort of similar to, you know, creating a certain amount of stress, I suppose, because in being stuck, I am creating a certain amount of stress that I will come out to after I come out of the stuckness, you know.
Yeah.
So, and that certainly, you know, I see that a lot. I feel a lot of my mother, actually, she's been doing that for her whole life. So yeah, there's just like,
What,
you know,
that
I
she
don't know,
does a similar thing?
yeah, like she makes life very stressful for herself, you know.
Okay.
and I have as well, and I can see the ways that I still do, but this is sort of just one of those.
Okay. So you're being a bit like your mum, are you? Do you think? Like,
I think it's an inherited pattern for sure.
yeah.
You know, just like, and because you're doing nervous system stuff, right? I just think it's like there's a certain level of stress that my body is acclimatized to, and that's, even though it's decreasing, it's like clearly there's something that I want to still create that.
Yeah, that's right.
And that is actually, that is frustrating. That is frustrating to know that. Yeah, that is frustrating. Yes.
What's frustrating to think about it like that? Like,
it's frustrating because it's what I work on. It's what I support people to do work on. It's what I have worked on. And it is frustrating just to still, I mean, it's okay, but it is frustrating, you know.
So it's frustrating that you're saying that it's because I haven't overcome this pattern myself, but I'm trying to help other people with it, or is it what you meant by that? Or like,
not even so much. It's more just like, I don't know if I'm getting too philosophical here, but it's like, it is just frustrating because it's, you know, such as the nature of life, you know, you're going to be potentially working on things for a long time, you know, even patterns that you've undone in many ways. There's like, how many freaking layers are there?
That's right. It is frustrating. Yeah. So will we say frustrating, like 0 to 10 on the frustrating, thinking like, how much work do I have to do on this kind of thing? Or I have.
Oh man, the frustration is not even that strong, because it'd be about a 4.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And where are you feeling it in the body?
Frustration, more like up around my head, I suppose, or up around my throat, head. Yeah. Or maybe chest, probably chest. Yeah.
Okay. All right, even though it's just frustrating. Thinking that I create this amount of stress for myself. A bit like mum. And I feel like I've been working on this for ages. Like, how many layers are there? And I feel this up around my head. And my throat and my chest. And I accept myself and how I feel.
Okay, the frustration isn't so much that I've been working on it for a long time. The frustration is, it's actually more like it's more around when I see my mother and I can see what she's doing. That is inherently frustrating to look at, and I've had to let go a lot around that. So it's sort of around, I don't know exactly how to word that, but it's around, you know, if someone's outside looking in, you can see that you're creating your own misery and stress. It's so, and it's just like, why don't you just stop that?
So do you want to like be like, you know, that yourself watching your mum do this to herself is really frustrating for you, but you're saying that if someone else is looking at me and I'm doing the same thing, is that what you mean? Is that what's frustrating?
I think it's frustrating. Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. Okay, no, I think it's frustrating to know that it could be so simple. Like, it's almost like even this event, it's like, it could be so easy just to do it. And then you can pop this bubble of stress and stuckness. And yet I'm choosing not to, you know?
Okay. All right.
So I don't know if that's similar to before.
That's all right. Yeah. Even though I feel frustrated. This pattern of stuckness is so familiar. And I'm thinking I could just make a decision about this event. And just communicate that. It could be so easy to pop this bubble of stress.
It could be so easy to pop this bubble of stress.
And I'm like choosing not to.
And I'm choosing not to.
And it's like watching what my mum does to herself.
And it's like watching what my mum does to herself.
And I'm feeling this in my chest and my throat.
I'm feeling this in my chest and my throat.
And up around my head.
And up around my head.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Those words all okay?
Yeah.
Even though it's really frustrating.
Even though it's really frustrating.
Because it could be so easy to just pop this stress bubble.
It could be so easy to pop this stress bubble.
I could just make a decision not to do this and let people know.
I could just make a decision not to do this and let people know.
But it's like watching my mum do what she does.
It's like watching my mum do what she does.
It's like I'm just choosing not to make that easy decision.
It's like I'm just choosing not to make that easy decision.
Because the stuckness is so familiar.
Because the stuckness is so familiar.
And this level of stress kind of feels safe.
And this level of stress kind of feels safe.
But it's frustrating.
But it's frustrating.
And I feel it up around my head.
And I feel it up around my head.
And in my throat and my chest.
And in my throat and in my chest.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Accept myself and how I feel.
Even though it's really frustrating.
Even though it's really frustrating.
If someone was on the outside looking in at me.
Someone was on the outside looking in at me.
They'd be like, why don't you just make a decision and communicate it?
They would be like, why don't you just make a decision and communicate it?
It could be that easy.
It could be that easy.
Like I'm just choosing not to.
It's like I'm just choosing not to.
Like seeing what my mum does just creates stress.
It's like seeing what my mum does just creates stress.
And I'm just frustrated.
And I'm just frustrated.
And I feel it up around my head.
I feel it up around my head.
And in my throat and my chest.
And in my throat and my chest.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
I accept myself and how I feel.
Oh, this is frustrating.
Oh, this is frustrating.
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 This frustration up around my head.
This frustration up around my head.
Frustrating.
Frustrating.
Frustration in my throat.
Frustration in my throat.
Frustration in my chest.
Frustration in my chest.
It is really frustrating.
It's really frustrating.
Maybe getting a few little borrowed benefits myself from this. Quite familiar with some of your patterns. Okay, Susie, you're doing so well. So how intense does that frustration feel now that it really looks like you just choose to keep yourself stuck in this? There's like a safety in there. It's like you love it, you create it.
Like it feels, the frustration is probably about a 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I don't feel overly frustrated with anything.
Yeah.
But it's just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's that 2 about? Like what's kind of keeping it there? What's your mind?
2. Yeah, that
doing,
2.
like focusing on.
I guess so. There is a little feeling of of my stomach. And what is my mind doing? Well, I guess even though it all feels fine in this moment, it is, it's unhelpful.
Yeah. And so the frustration is that, I feel fine now, but what, like thinking, is this just going to come back, or like it's unhelpful as in I'm going to just keep repeating that, creating stress for myself, or
exactly, I'm going to keep creating stress for myself. And I'm already thinking of all these strategies that I can mitigate that, but you know, there even just, you know, it is yeah, you know, I don't want to just keep creating stress for myself. It's unnecessary level of stress, you know. It's yeah.
All right. And so in the stomach, you said it feels like, did it feel like it dropped or something, or?
Feels like a little, just like a little channel or a little cord in my stomach. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, and I would love to just feel really relaxed and free, right? But I'm the one stopping that. So that is, yeah, it's just, oh man.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, great work. All right. Even though I still feel some frustration.
Even though I still feel some frustration.
It's like a channel or a cord in my stomach.
Like a channel or a cord in my stomach.
Because I think about how easy it would be to just pop the bubble of stress around this program.
I think about how easy it would be to just pop the bubble of stress around this program.
And sure, it feels fine in this moment.
And sure, it feels fine in this moment.
But I'm thinking, I'm just going to keep on creating this stress for myself.
But I'm thinking I'm just going to keep on creating stress for myself.
And I don't want to keep doing it.
And I don't want to keep doing it.
It's unhelpful and unnecessary.
It's unhelpful, it's unnecessary.
But I accept myself and how I feel.
But I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I still feel this frustration.
Even though I still feel this frustration.
I'd love to be relaxed and free.
I'd love to be relaxed and free.
To just choose to do nothing about this program, not make a decision.
To just choose to do nothing about this program and not make a decision.
But I'm the one stopping that from happening.
But I'm the one stopping that from happening.
And I feel like I'm just going to keep creating this stress for myself.
And I feel like I'm just going to keep creating this stress for myself.
And it's unhelpful and unnecessary.
And it's unhelpful and unnecessary. Oh, I cannot hear you suddenly.
Did you hear me then?
Yes.
Okay. And I feel this frustration like a channel or a cord in my stomach.
Feel this frustration like a channel or a cord in my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I still feel this frustration.
Even though I still feel this frustration.
Like I feel okay in this moment.
Like I feel okay in this moment.
But I'm thinking I'm just going to keep creating this stress for myself.
But I'm thinking I'm just going to keep creating this stress for myself.
Even though it's unhelpful and unnecessary level of stress.
Even though it's unhelpful and it's an unnecessary level of stress.
This is just what I do. It feels safe to be stuck.
This is just what I do. It feels safe to be stuck.
It's what I've watched my mum do as well.
It's what I watched my mum do as well.
And I feel it like a channel or a cord in my stomach.
And I feel it like a channel or a cord in my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Okay, this remaining frustration.
This remaining frustration.
It is frustrating.
It is frustrating.
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 Feels like a channel or a cord in my stomach.
Feels like a channel or a cord in my stomach.
It's frustration.
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 It's frustration in my stomach.
In my stomach.
It is a bit frustrating still.
It is a bit frustrating still.
Ah, so what are you noticing now?
It's so funny, while we were doing that tapping, I was having thoughts of like, oh, you know, I just need to put those videos up that my clients did for me of these testimonials. And it was just like right into my head. I have like quite a few video testimonials from clients from months ago, and I just haven't ever done anything with them, like just.
Oh.
So I just had a little thought that that's something that I would like to do. I'm feeling good, Jules.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling kind of peaceful, really. Kind of and energized. Yeah.
So any charge still with the frustration, do you think?
Like it actually in this moment, not really.
0,
Just
1, or a
smaller
2?
and smaller. I would say in this moment a 0. I feel 0 frustration,
Yeah. And if I kind of poked the bear a little bit and got you to think about, I'm just going to keep doing this. I do this to myself.
Yeah. I do this to myself.
It feels safe to be stuck. All the kind of judgment around it. What happens when you tune into that stuff?
Nothing.
I find
like I feel like a Buddha, I'm like, yeah, it's just going right through me. So funny.
cool. What about like if you think about what other people might think, oh, it's so unprofessional that she hasn't like done anything about that, what's happening with that program, or maybe clients are waiting to hear like the fact that you've not made a decision or communicated it, like if you think about it like that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think it is sort of objectively would be viewed as unprofessional by the Professional Standards Board.
We're going back to being a lawyer.
Yeah. Well, but like, yeah, I feel pretty peaceful. Like it's okay. Like who cares, at the end of the day.
Any shame,
I think there's a little bit of just acknowledging, I feel honestly very full of compassion, because it's like, yeah, it is unprofessional and that's okay,
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay.
You just run your business however you like. You're doing good work, it's like this is the type of thing that's,
Okay.
it would be, it's like in the scheme of unprofessional, this is the least, at least you're rebelling here kind of thing, it's such a small thing.
Okay. A little bit of a cognitive shift that we've noted there.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Yeah, it is, because there's so many other ways where I'm being very professional, and this is just a little way that I'm being unprofessional, and it's fine. It's quite clever to rebel here, really.
Yeah, if you're gonna do some rebelling, it's a pretty harmless way, isn't it?
It's a good way, yeah.
You can get your fix that way.
Good job. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, that's so funny.
All right. So just for the sake of it, just because I've got a few minutes, I'm thinking it might be nice just to sort of, because does it feel like pretty much a 0, as in charge around shame, frustration, 0 to 1 to...
Yeah, I think it does feel like a 0. Okay. And I'm curious, right? Because does it go back up? Because I assume it will go back up, but in this moment, it feels very, very good, very peaceful.
Yeah. So look, the trigger will, like, because it's a kind of a lifelong thing, and
It'll
it's
come back. Yeah.
Parents' expectations. Well, something will come in, right, that will kind of bring it up for you, and you'll probably just be like, oh wow, I didn't really. Oh well. Like you're probably
be less reactive.
And because you're a very kind of perceptive and self-aware person, so you'll probably be like, wow, I didn't get that. I didn't feel that pressure to, like, I actually felt quite free to choose not to do. I mean, I don't want to predict what's going to happen, but usually what I say to people is whatever the kind of trigger is, after this much big fat EFT sessions, usually the triggers, they'll still come in because that's life, but they'll be less frequent, they'll be less intense. And usually the person will feel like, and I could manage it. I could just kind of go like, ding, I don't think like that anymore. Ding, I had a little Judge Judy coming in about I should do this or I should do that. And I just went like, oh, stop it, Susie. Like, that's old Susie. Like, so yeah, like things will still happen, but you'll probably just feel you'll have a different response. It'll be interesting because we can catch up again next week and see where that's at. All right. So I was just thinking it might be just nice to do a little kind of like a little sneak away, but just acknowledging some of the cognitive shifts that you've made because they're quite profound. All right. So even though I was feeling a lot of shame and frustration over this.
Even though I was feeling quite a lot of shame and frustration over this.
I'm really not feeling that way now.
I'm really not feeling that way now.
I'm actually feeling really full of compassion for myself.
I'm actually feeling really full of compassion with myself.
I feel like, yeah, it is unprofessional.
I feel like, yeah, it is unprofessional.
But it's actually such a small thing.
But it's actually such a small thing.
And there's so many ways in which I am professional.
And there are so many ways in which I am professional.
It's quite clever to do some rebelling in this way.
It's quite clever to do some rebelling in this way.
And I'm doing good work.
And I'm doing good work.
I feel okay about it now.
I feel okay about it now.
So even though there might be some more work to do around this.
So even though there might be some more work to do around this.
At the moment, I'm feeling peaceful like a Buddha.
At the moment, I'm feeling peaceful like a Buddha.
I'm quite energized.
I'm quite energized.
I'm thinking I might put up those client testimonial videos.
Thinking I might put up those client testimonial videos.
I don't feel all that shame and frustration anymore.
I don't feel all that shame and frustration anymore.
I feel like I can run my business however I like.
I feel like I can run my business however I like.
I'm doing good work.
I'm doing good work.
I have some compassion for myself.
And I have some compassion for myself.
Thinking that, yeah, look, this is a little bit unprofessional.
Thinking, yeah, this is a little bit unprofessional.
It's pretty harmless, really.
But it's pretty harmless, really.
And there are actually so many ways in which I am really professional.
And there are so many ways in which I am really professional.
And it's okay for me to rebel a little bit here and there like this.
And it's okay for me to rebel a little bit here and there like this.
And we might come back and do some more work on this another time.
And we might come back and do some work on this another time.
All right, that'll do. I'm okay to leave it there for now.
I'm okay to leave it there for now.
Because I feel peaceful like a Buddha.
Because I feel peaceful like a Buddha.
I feel compassion for myself.
I feel compassion for myself.
Like, so what if I've been a little bit unprofessional in this one way?
So what if I've been a little bit unprofessional in this one way?
It's like such a small thing and who cares, really?
It's such a small thing and who cares, really?
There's so many ways in which I am really professional.
There are so many ways in which I am really professional.
And I know I'm doing good work.
And I know I'm doing good work.
It's okay for me to rebel in a little way like this here and there.
It's okay for me to rebel in a little way like this here and there.
Really, I just have compassion for myself.
Really, I just have compassion for myself.
Because I have been working on this stuckness for a long time.
I've been working on this stuckness for a long time.
And there are a lot of layers.
And there are a lot of layers.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Feeling peaceful but energized.
Feeling peaceful but energized.
Like a Buddha.
Like a Buddha.
Feels good to feel zero frustration or shame about this.
It feels good to feel zero frustration or shame about this.
That's a nice change.
Oh, that's a nice change.
All righty.
Great, that's nice.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's the body feel?
Yeah, really good.
Good.
Really good. I feel a little bit tired, but that's good.
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah, that's a lot of old stuff there, I'd say.
Yeah.
You will feel a bit tired. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thank you, Susie, so much. Much
so
appreciate
much.
you. People are learning a lot from these videos, so I really appreciate you making your process so transparent.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we'll catch up one more time and we'll just see where you're at with this, because I think one more session might be really good to see where you end up. Okay, thanks very much. Bye-bye.